The Po' Boy Pundits podcast is brought to you by The Goddamn Sauce. Go to thegdsauce.com for details to order all the sauces to replace your ordinary condiments. Pulpery Media presents Po' Boy Pundits with your hosts, Brock and Ben. This is where we discuss the political headlines that grab our attention and all those little jerks
of
that
the
infuriate
last,
us. It's been 24 hours?
36.
Maybe.
Yeah, because the time difference, I get lost on that.
It's
martial law.
It's fun to see how quickly things can move. Like, so to answer your question about Trump via Nazi Germany, right?
Right.
That's how fast it can move, is what we saw in South Korea. It was building and building, and then all of a sudden,
I haven't heard of it building other than what I wrote down now is like the entire world seems to have gone far right.
Well, so, I mean, as far as I can piece, and you're right, like, I mean, this wasn't really on a lot of news alerts or anything.
It just happened. It was like, okay, it's martial law. Whoa, wait a minute. No, it's not. Okay, that's done.
But that's where I think
was fun.
It seems a little similar to the prime minister in France in that, so the president of South Korea has like this horribly corrupt executive department. And
you mean like now?
Yeah, or what's going to happen.
Right.
And under the threat of all these investigations,
he just went.
Yeah, he pulled the trigger. It was like, no, that's it. I'm in control. And you go,
because that's what martial law just literally means. The president is in charge. Like there's no checks, there's no balances. What I say go because we're under a national emergency. Correct?
Right. I mean, in terms of in that a president being commander in chief. Right. So now it's like and typically it's there in constitutions, it's there in ours in case of like a national emergency.
Right.
And then it allows, like, say, our president to respond quickly and decisively. So, like,
without having to do the states thing and Congress and all this other the political shit.
Right. So, for example, but here is, and this is what the South Korean Congress or Parliament did, was that they essentially said, we didn't give you that power. Like, here in the United States, it should be like the president cannot just go, I'm in control.
Okay. I knew there was some.
Yeah. Congress has to grant the president that authority.
Both.
Right. And
just simple majority?
Yeah, because it's not a.
What?
Now again, I'm not a parliamentarian, so I don't know about the Senate. I don't know if the filibuster would count for that, but I mean, honestly speaking,
could you imagine?
Yeah,
I'm going to filibuster this martial law thing too.
I want to read Dr. Seuss now.
I'm going to read.
That's when somebody needs to break out Foundation and be like, Harbor Mallow.
Here we go.
Was a traitor.
There you go. Here.
It's Cleon the Fifth. But
no, just read the Bible to them, the Old Testament.
Oh, they would love that.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that'd be good. But and again, I'm just talking about how theoretically it's supposed to work in the United States. But if granted that power, then not only, I mean, the president is already the commander-in-chief of the armed services.
But he still has to jump through hoops to get shit done.
So, but what that would also do is that nationalizes all of the
branches of military.
Guard.
Yeah.
So all the state militias are now under the control of the president.
Oh, Jesus, so everything.
Yeah, and we haven't had to deal with that in the United States because but it's still I love me some Roman Yossi.
Facts.
We've never had to do that because we've never faced invade. I mean, I think maybe it was like during the War of 1812, but I don't think we needed that anyway. But we've never been invaded, so there's no reason for the president to have like complete control. I mean, even
like that's the threshold there, right? It's like under attack,
right?
Foreign or domestic.
I was gonna say, I mean, like the only times we've been given that scenario is in like Mars Attacks or like some
exactly.
sci-fi thing
Yep,
when like
that's what I was saying.
Independence Day.
We were wiped out way before martial law could be.
Yeah.
Which is probably how it would go. So
Now,
then the president
there's
would have
other
to just
variations
go
of
like,
that, yeah.
okay, it's over, and now I'm good. Basically, Netanyahu did it without declaring martial
Yeah.
law. Law.
It's like trying to say the judicial system like
Right.
10 times in a row.
Okay.
It's not easy.
But
Hurrah.
that's probably what it sounded like. But that's basically what he did without saying the word.
Except in like other countries, like that's the problem. Like or yeah,
I mean,
he declared martial law in Gaza. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And is now trying to do it in Lebanon. So
Lebanon. But that was another thing on my list, but we'll get to that next. About the
Well, we're just throwing it all in here. But yeah. But I mean in that
about the ceasefires.
But the crazy part about South Korea is that the South Korea president justified it by saying that the liberal
Yep.
South Korean Congress Parliament is in league with North Korea.
Yep. Enemies of the state. Enemies
going-
of the state. They were sympathizers, I think is the word that
Correct.
was used.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
So I need to shut that shit down because we don't need to get invaded by North Korea.
right.
However, I am now Kim Jong-un, and I control it all.
Right, which is like so you did and
You-
now
so
at this
you-
point like the
you
world
helped
goes
them?
yeah, like the world goes well it seems and very very Hitler-esque.
Yeah.
You're blaming the people that you're blaming them for actually doing what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the
It's
South
the Trump playbook, too.
yeah, the South Korean elected body was like no. And it seems
Even though
like
they're corrupt as fuck.
yeah, or as is any regular
Yeah.
elected body, but it seems like they got the army to stand down, and now they're able to proceed with impeachment proceedings.
Right.
So now it's like, okay, now we're just going to get like you've clearly overstepped your bounds.
Now we're going to get rid of you.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a new election.
I mean, I think that's going to be the interesting point
Or
because
is the
if they
next
were already
person up?
doing investigations, I mean, technically that's the way they would go. But if they're already investigating most of his administration,
Right.
yeah, I mean, you might just, I
Next man up without declaring martial law.
yeah, or there's no like real precedent for it. I mean, normally, yeah, it would go to whoever like the vice president is.
That's what I was going
Right.
to say. Chancellor, whoever it may be.
But if that person's under investigation, yeah. So if they have a similar system, which is
what we have. Like,
Yeah,
no matter
'cause,
what,
yeah.
president goes, vice president steps in.
so, it
sworn
would
in.
probably if they get rid of the entire administration, then it would go to the highest up in the elected, like the Speaker of the House,
Okay.
which is what it is.
It is
in
here.
our yeah. So
Which still blows my mind. I don't understand that. You'll have to explain that to me at some point in time. Why them? Why that?
why the Speaker of the House?
Yeah.
Because it's an elected person by the majority of the largest
elected
body.
people,
Yeah.
The largest body of government.
Right. Yeah. It makes sense when you think about it, though. Like, that's why they're third in line. What doesn't make sense is why the president pro tempore of the Senate is fourth, which is usually it's the oldest person in the Senate.
Right. It'd be like
That's the one
it'd be
that's
like
like-
Mitch McConnell.
At this time, yeah.
Oh my Christ!
Which it's like under the Democrats, it's been like Pat Leahy it used to be Pat Leahy from Vermont.
like 137. Yeah.
He's the Highlander. But then like on top of that, you get the news from France of a vote of no confidence.
For the prime minister.
Yeah,
Is that
and
what's underneath Macron?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, because I mean, France it's still their fifth republic, so they've dabbled in every version,
They've tried it all.
and so yeah, now you have your assembly, you have a prime minister, you have a president, so
And now the prime minister, they just went, nah, we're good.
Yeah.
And now we're going to snap elect another one.
Yeah, but that should come within the party.
Right.
Yeah.
That doesn't need to go anywhere else.
That's what Britain has been going through.
It seems like every 6 weeks it's happening, right?
It was until they got the Labour Party back in, and then it was like, oh, okay.
The House was looking like it was going to do that here.
Exactly, yeah.
Like we had never seen it before, and then you were like, oh my God. And then Mike Johnson went through it with the whole budget in, I don't know, the fall.
Yeah. Yeah,
Isn't
Johnson held on. And what it looks
but
like,
if not, oh my God, we're okay, whatever. So yeah, who gets put there? I guess it would be the same as South Korea.
Well, so this is where this is
a vote of no confidence mean?
Well, so in France in any parliamentary system that has a president. So England doesn't have that.
No,
right?
they have a king.
Right.
Yeah.
So and that's why their prime minister carries so much weight. But like for example, in like Israel too, they also have a president. But like Netanyahu as prime minister gets to make a lot of it. France is a little different though in that like the prime minister is like essentially our speaker of the house.
Right.
And but they do.
They don't have a vice president because
right.
You don't need one.
But it seems like too there in France, like the key cabinet positions are picked by the prime minister, and the president is just in charge of like diplomatic kind of things. But I could be wrong on that.
If they picked him.
But it seems like a similar scenario, right? Like a lot, or at least a lot of his deputies, I guess, would be the best way to say that. The people in his were under enough, criminal indictments that they were like, okay, something's bad here. But in France,
I wonder if that's going to happen here in 2 years.
Well, again, the difference that we have is. France right now has multiple parties, so I think that that's where this comes into play. Is that in the vote of no confidence on their prime minister, disbands their coalition government,
now we're back to ground zero.
Right,
everybody in the coalition, or what is it, 4 of them?
Yeah, I think that it's they have 4 major parties and maybe 5, a 5th and a 6th that are like real teeny tiny, but Well, I mean,
I've asked before. What would it take for us to do that here?
I mean, we could do that. You just have to have viable representatives, right?
And money.
Correct. Yeah, campaign money.
Pump the brakes there. Campaign money. Come on now. We all know what that means.
I saw it on TikTok, and I double checked on it. At least they got a website and it's up, but somebody has at least filed the paperwork to start the Labour Party in the United States.
Really?
But yeah, when you enter in like a viable third party, and say for instance they take up their percentage, so you have
third,
33,
right.
33, and 33.
Right.
Nobody has a 50%, 51% majority, so then you have to have coalitions.
Work within what you have.
Right. So the more parties you have, the more diluted it gets, and then it becomes fragile like that. Same way, that's how Netanyahu got back into power, because the previous coalition government fell apart.
Right.
And then he was able to get enough people to support him to vote him into the prime minister office.
It's conclave.
Yeah.
Except on the world's...
Yeah, you have 3 or 4 different factions. And on the plus side... It makes for more compromise, but it also creates a more volatile government.
Right, I mean, we're close to that now.
The following segment has been brought to you by The Goddamn Sauce. Go to thegdsauce.com for details to order all the sauces to replace your ordinary condiments. The Po' Boy Podcast is a production of Pulpery Media, produced and edited by Ben Grimion. Marketing by Brock Ryder. Graphic design by Beck Ryder and Ben Grimion. Music by the Heisenberg Compensators.